Math 3, Unit 4, Section 5. Today we are talking about applied problems with rational equations. Rational equations are dealing with fractions. We've already been dealing with rational equations and fractions, and now it's being applied into word problems. Okay, the first one that we're going to do today, Tristan can type the articles for the Cougar Growl in 6 hours, and Duran can type the articles for the Cougar Growl in 8 hours. Write an equation that can be used to find the time in hours it would take Tristan and Duran to type articles for the Cougar Growl together. Now, if you were to Google this or look, this is called like a work problem, okay? What is happening is that we have two people here. Tristan is 6 hours. Duran is 8 hours. Notice how I circled some and boxed some so I can see how they go together. How you write the equation is that they are completing a job, okay? So, Tristan, if we're talking, it takes him, it's one job, 6 hours. Or he completes 1/6 of the job in 1 hour, okay? Duran, we're going to add it together. He can complete 1/8 of the job in 1 hour, okay? And we want to see how long will it take them together. How this works, you always have your individual times, individual people completing the job on the left side, and their together time on the right. When you add these together, we will be able to figure out how long it will take them working together. Okay, what do you think I'm going to need to do on this problem? Albert. We could get the same denominator, that would work. There's something else that we could do that I think is easier. Find the LCD. We could eliminate all of our fractions. Okay, what would be the LCD on this problem? 24t. So you start with 8. 6 can't go into 8 evenly. Then I go 8 times 2 is 16. 6 can't go into 16 evenly. Then I go 8 times 3. 6 can go into 24 evenly. You could use 48. It would also work. You'll just reduce more at the end. Okay? So 24t. I'm going to rewrite this problem. So I have 1 over 6 plus 1 over 8 equals 1 over t. If you had 3 people working together, you would have 3 fractions on this side. And then it's always 1 over your job, 1 over the time it'll take for the completed job. So, what am I going to do? Good, multiply the LCD to every term. Okay, the first one, what happens?
6 and 24 make 4.
Good. 6 goes into 24 4 times. We're left with 4 times t times 1, which is 4t, plus 8 goes into 24 3 times. 1 times 3 times t is 3t. Here the t's cancel and we get 24. We're solving for t. 7t equals 24. Last step is to divide by 7 to both sides. And so if you want to write this as 24 over 7 hours, I will accept that answer. But to me, I don't talk like that. I don't say it's going to take me 24 over 7 hours. So if you take 7 and divide it into 24, 7 goes into 24 3 times. That's 21. Subtract 3 left over. 3 and 3/7 of an hour is something more like I might say it. I might actually say it in minutes, but we're not going to do any conversions. Okay, either of these answers are okay. Does it make sense, though, that if it takes one person 6 and one person 8, that the answer should at least be less than 6 hours? Yes. Okay? That is how you set up your work problems. Individual times are on the left. One job, however long it takes the person. Okay, so one job, 6 hours. One job, 8 hours. How long for one job with them all together? Okay, next problem. This one is slightly more complicated. Are you ready? Too bad. Here we go. All right. A group of friends decides to rent a bus to take to Magic Mountain that costs $400 and to divide the cost evenly among the friends. Initially, there are X friends. So right now, they are taking the $400 and they are dividing it among X friends. Okay, we don't know how many friends they are actually dividing it among. Okay, then 4 more friends decide to join the group, causing each friend to pay $5 less. So what we need to do is make a balanced equation. So originally it was 400 divided by X. Now we're going to balance it with another equation when we have more friends. How do you think I would start writing that?
I have no clue. 4.
How many more friends are being added? Do we know what X is? So we are going to take the 400 this time and divide it by X plus 4, because we still have everyone that was initially in the group and we're adding 4 more people to it. Does that make sense?
Yes, very much.
Okay, so let's just say, okay, originally the cost was for each person. Let's pretend that 400 divided by X is $15. Okay, now when we take 400 divided by this new number, it's going to cost us less, right? And they said $5 less, so that means this would be 10. So what would I need to do over here in order to make this balanced? Plus 5. So that's exactly what I have to do here. I have to write plus 5 in order to make it a balanced equation, because this is going to make a smaller number, and so since it's going to be 5, this is going to end up being 5 less. I have to add 5 there to balance it out. Does that make sense? Okay. So now we're going to solve it. That's it. We have our equation. Now we need to figure out how many people were initially there. In order to solve this, what will I do first? Good. What will be my LCD for this problem?
X plus 4.
Very good. X and X plus 4. Also, do I have any extraneous solutions here?
0 and negative 4.
0 and negative 4. Okay, and would we have negative 4 people? Does that even make sense? Yeah, exactly. 0 people and negative 4 people. Neither one of those makes sense anyways. But we can still talk about that. Okay. So, next step is to do what? Cathal, what will I do now?
You make the
We want to eliminate the denominators. Good. So we're going to multiply everything by our LCD. Okay, so on the first fraction, what happens? X is eliminate, and I'm just going to write this as 400 times X plus 4 equals. The next one, X plus 4 is cancel, and I'm left with 400X. Good. Can anything cancel here? No, because I don't even have a denominator. So I write that as 5x times x plus 4. Are there any questions up to this step? We're okay? Okay, so now what? Somebody tell me, actually I'm going to pull a stick. What is the next thing I'm going to do? Kyle.
Oh, you got called.
What's the next thing I'm going to do? Distribute. Very good. So 400 times x is 400x. 400 times 4 is 1600. And then we have 400x. 5x times x is 5x squared. And 5x times 4 is 20x. Does anybody notice anything about this equation right now? There's 400x. If I were to subtract 400x to both sides, what ends up happening? They cancel out. So if you ever notice that you have the exact same thing on both sides of an equation, just cancel them out. Don't waste your time. What would we do now in order to solve this? Subtract 1600 because we need to
Set it equal to 0.
set it equal to 0 so that I can factor. Okay, so it's set equal to 0. So we have 5x squared plus 20x minus 1600 equals 0. Okay, now those look like big numbers, but I'm going to help you. What would you always do first?
Multiply 5 and 16.
Good. Is there GCF?
Yes.
It is 5. Factor out of 5, we get x squared plus 4x minus 320 equals 0. Now, again, 320 is a pretty large number, but I know I want to get 4. Any number that ends in 0 we know is multiplied by what? 5 or 10. If I take 32 and 10, that doesn't make 4. Okay, so I need to kind of balance the numbers out more. So 32 divided by 2 is what? 16. So if I divide that by 2, I get a 16, which means I'd multiply the 10 by 2, which is 10 by 2, which is 20. 16 times 20 makes 320. You could start at 1 and go through every single number until you find the ones that make 4. But if you notice here, these can make 4. Do we agree? So in order to make it a positive 4, which one has the negative?
Negative 16.
Good. Negative 16. So when we add those, makes a positive 4. Multiply them, it makes the negative 320. So when we factor, can I use the shortcut? Yes, because my x squared no longer has a coefficient when I took out my GCF. What's going to go in the front of each of those? Good. X plus 20 and an x minus 16. And when we set those equal to 0, 5 equals 0, doesn't even make sense. Okay? X equals negative 20. Again, doesn't make sense that I would have negative 20 people on the bus. No, doesn't make sense. That answer is out because it doesn't make sense. X equals 16. Okay, so we believe the answer is that there are 16 people initially. Let's go back and look at this equation really quick. If we were to take 400 divided by 16, what does that equal? 25. Okay? Here, I would do 400 divided by, what's 16 plus 4?
20.
20. And what's 400 divided by 20?
40.
And then you get 20 plus 5, which makes,
25.
and you have your balanced equations. You know it works. You can plug this number in to make sure you can make a balanced equation. Okay? And it works out 16 people is the correct answer.
Never mind.
You sure? Okay, turn the page. These ones are easier. Okay, science and math, but we're only looking at the math part of science. Okay, so Boyle's law states the pressure P of gas is inversely proportional to the volume. This equation is right here. Okay, it says solve for V. Let's rewrite it. P equals K over V. What do we do in order to get rid of our fractions on all of these? Let's try to always eliminate our fractions. What would I do? Good. My LCD is V. I multiply by V to both sides. That cancels. PV equals K. I normally always write my letters in alphabetical order. You don't have to, but normally, mathematically, we do. Okay, now we want to get V by itself, so what do I do? All we do is divide by P. And we do that to both sides. And so my answer is V equals K over P. And you're done. Okay? Next problem.
That was it?
That's it.
Okay, hold on. I was like dozed down for 10 seconds. Yeah, I looked away for 2.
Okay. Ask me a question if you have it. I'm rewriting the next problem, which you should as well. And again, on all of these, we want to eliminate our fractions. What would be the LCD on the next problem?
ABH.
ABH. Very good. I also like how you wrote that and said that in alphabetical order. ABH. So we're going to eliminate our fractions. Every single term I'm going to multiply by ABH. Are we all okay? First term, h's cancel. I have 1 times ab, which is just ab. Next term, a's cancel. 3 times bh makes 3bh. Minus, b's cancel. I have 2ah. Now, they want us to get h by itself. Do you see right now how all the h's are on the right side? What could I do to like get the h by itself? You would factor out an h. Just like if I have like 5x minus 10 and I factor out my like term, which would be 5. Okay, and we get x minus 2. Here we factor out an h and I'm left with 3b minus 2a. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
And then how do I get h by itself?
Divide by 8.
No, we want h by itself. We're going to divide by 3b minus 2a.
You're right.
These cancel. H equals AB over 3B minus 2A. Is there anything that I can factor out here? No. And this is a monomial. This is a binomial. We cannot cancel those. We can't reduce those unless they're exactly the same. Okay? That's it.